Deepwater Horizon. So Deepwater Horizon stars Mark Wahlberg as Mark Watson, and it tells the true story of the Deepwater Horizon that happened in 2010, and that's this movie. It's pretty much a disaster movie, and if you go in expecting a disaster movie, I think you're going to get exactly what you paid for, and if you do, and after that, I think you're gonna be pleased. Anyway, I'm gonna tell you what I liked about this movie. First of all, the performances are all very good, especially from Mark Wahlberg. He is the only performance that I can say is great in this movie. And the reason it is great is because you get so much screen time with this character, and therefore you get to understand why he is the way he is. And there's a little scene in this movie where one of his employees, or people they work with, or whoever that guy is, he asked him, "Did you touch my stuff?" I was like, "No, I didn't touch your stuff." Okay, and then he goes into his office, and like a minute or so later, he realizes all his bins are backwards. He's like, "Touch my stuff, touch my stuff," and that's probably the funniest part of the entire movie, and I thought I should share that with you. Moving on, aside from performances, the characters were good, but you didn't really get to know who they were too well. But I did think they were passable at best. So, as for problems I have with like the other characters, aside from Mark Watson, I thought that everyone else didn't get too much screen time. You didn't get to really know who they were. You couldn't really, and why, you might be thinking, why is that an issue? And that's because when all of this goes down, you didn't really feel too much like, oh, this is really hurting me, like inside. And the last 2 minutes really are very powerful, and they do kind of get you kind of emotionally sad that this happened, but that is what I wanted it to be. But unfortunately, it was only a really good movie, and I wanted it to be a great movie. But speaking of emotions, I was not too invested in this movie because the pacing was a tiny bit too slow, and not for the first half, but for the second half. Even though it should be slow, you should feel like you're going through this with the characters, but it was just a hair too slow for my taste. But I think that will be a problem for some people, but fine for other people. And the pace scene took a tiny toll, but in all honesty, you can probably look past it. And the reason I'm flying the movie for that is because the trailer I watched, it has heroes on it. You watch it a couple times, you let it soak in, you get really emotionally invested in it, and when you watch the movie, I was trying to let it soak in as much as I could, and it didn't get me on that level, unfortunately. So that's a problem too. And overall, this movie did have some pacing issues. Some of the characters you couldn't really get too far into, and the movie wasn't as impactful as I was hoping it would be. Like say for American Sniper for me, that's my favorite movie that's based on true events. But that's for another review for another time. And as far as directing goes, you do feel like you're actually there. It doesn't feel like a movie. You feel like you're walking through with everyone that's part of the Deepwater Horizon. You might be thinking, well, what does that mean? It means that you feel like, and I said this already, you feel like, imagine I'm a character in the movie, and you're watching me go through everything that everyone went through back in 2010, and that's had the biggest oil leak in U.S. history, or any history in general. I believe it was 210 million gallons of oil. That's a ton of oil. But back to directing. If you feel like you're there, then that's definitely a big plus. It doesn't feel like found footage. It doesn't try to confuse you with any shaky cam or handheld cam. I think there is handheld cam, but I don't really remember it. Which brings me to a point, but I'll get to that later. Overall, this movie is really well directed, very well acted, has one great character, with everyone else kind of just fine. But overall, I think you'll find the same amount of enjoyment I found, or maybe a little bit more, a little bit less. But overall, I'm gonna give this movie a B+. If you enjoyed this review, I would love to hear more from you guys, and I'll see you next time. And before I go, I just wanted to apologize for not getting this review up earlier. I was a little bit late. The reason that happened is because I didn't want to miss anything like the last two reviews for Blair Witch and The Magnificent Seven. I missed a few things, but here I think I got everything, and so now I'm going to have my notes with me from now on, what was I going to say? I'm just going to have my notes with me from now on, and so this way I'm not going to forget anything. And I hope that you guys don't feel like you're being distracted by a notebook. If it's a little too high, then I'll probably notice it, and then I'll try to keep it lower like this, or right here. Yeah, that's probably better. Sorry about that, I dropped my phone, but I'm going to end this review here, and see you next time.